Hey everyone, it's Katie here. I hope you're doing great. I am coming to you with a little message from the Divine Feminine and about the Divine Feminine. This is kind of a hot topic for our group right now, but it's one that's super, super misunderstood. So we're going to break this down, talk to you a little bit. I'm going to do a card pull from my Divine Feminine deck and talk to you about the consequences and the symptoms of when you're not connecting with the Divine Feminine and why that it may not be necessarily a good thing. So I am keeping my little Facebook page open. If you have any questions, just comment and I will do my best to get to them and to see them. You can always tag me and then I will make sure that I can respond to you personally. So we are talking about the Divine Feminine a ton this week, and this can be super scary for a lot of Christians. We are so used to talking about Jesus is male, God is he, him. Even the Holy Spirit, which has traditionally actually been referred to as she, has been called he in the past 100 years or so. So Christianity has done just a really good number on us on kind of trying to excise out the Divine Feminine. Sometimes that's been conscious, but a lot of times it's just unconscious. We've just defaulted to using masculine language. And then when we do that, we've assumed that God must be masculine. But of course, we know that that's not the case, but sometimes it's really hard to bring it from head down into the heart space. So we have quite a few things coming up with the Divine Feminine this week and next week. There is a free guide that you can download that's in the body of the post with this video. So you can just look at that and find the link and download that. It is a guide on all the hidden places where the Divine Feminine has been hiding in Christianity all along. It's really fun. It's a short book. You can read it in one setting, but it's going to pack a punch and give you a little bit of power. There's also a totally free mini course that you can enroll in. We've got about 100 people in it now. I want to make you the 101st. So you can enroll in that. I'm going to put that in the first comment below as well as soon as this video is done. So that's a free mini class. It's just 3 videos. It's about 20 minutes total. I take you on this really cool, shamanically inspired guided journey to meet the Divine Feminine in your own journey. So really fun. A lot of ways that you can go about discovering about the Divine Feminine this week. Next week, I'm going to start telling you about a workshop that's coming up on August 20th. So save that date. So some of you who are really, really wanting to do the deep dive and to get even more insight and really get into that lived heart space with the Divine Feminine, that is going to be for you. So what is the Divine Feminine? The Divine Feminine is the part of God that represents what we say are these feminine qualities of God. This does not mean meek and mild. If you've met me, you know that that's not my jam. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just kind of not who I am. When we talk about the Divine Feminine, we're talking about the compassionate part of God, the part of God that is very fierce, that is very loving and protective, the part of God that's both gentle and powerful, all at the same time. So these aren't really necessarily feminine versus masculine or anything like that, but it's the qualities that we associate with femininity, or sometimes that we have forgotten are an important part of the feminine experience and the feminine identity for today. Now, a lot of people will kind of start to ask me, well, does this mean we can't talk about God as he, him? No, this is acknowledging that God is all of these things and more. We do not want to limit God in terms of gender. We simply want to acknowledge the many faceted, many multi-components of God that have been ignored for a long time. And the feminine part, the Divine Feminine part of God has unfortunately been super hidden. Although you'll find out in the book that you read, he's never really, really gone anywhere. But some of the consequences of not tapping into the Divine Feminine, of not getting to know this really essential part of God, like more than half of God, it can be really, really dire. So if any of you have problems on your left side, that's your feminine side, that may mean that you're not actually in touch with your deeply feminine part of you. This goes for all genders, all genders. We can all be unbalanced in our masculine and our feminine qualities, right? So if you have a lot of problems on your left side, that may mean that you're unbalanced for your own divine feminine nature. If you have a lot of problems on your right side, and hello, that's me, right shoulder, right hip, If you have a lot of problems on your right side, you might be overdoing it in your divine masculine or your undivine masculine attributes. So when we don't get to know the divine feminine, or those aren't in balance, then we might experience problems on one side of our body or the other. Another really serious consequence of not getting to know the divine feminine, of not connecting with the divine feminine, is that we may be all in our head. Those of you who overthink, those of you who ruminate, those of you who know there's a problem, but you have a kind of hard time settling into your heart space, this is for you. And this so described me a few years ago. So this is something that I'm working on in my own life. I'm always conscientious about in my own journey. So when we are not in touch with the divine feminine, we may live in a pure logic place. There's nothing wrong with logic, but without the divine feminine, we never shift from up here down into our heart space, even our womb space. And again, that's for all genders. But we never sink into that place of deep knowing. We never move from the science article into the poetry. And we really, really need both. And the divine feminine part of God helps us do that. And Jesus is a big fan of the divine feminine. Where do you think Jesus learned this, right? He had a pretty badass mother who was teaching him the ways of the divine feminine, and who was the inheritor of a long line of divine feminine expression within Judaism. And I'm actually, some of you may find this intriguing, I'm actually being playful with the idea that maybe Jesus experienced some transness in their life and knew at some level what it was to identify as female. So I think that's pretty fun, and that's been a part of my evolving relationship with Jesus, with Christ, and then my scholarship too. That's something that I'm writing about right now. So some of you may kind of enjoy thinking about that as well. So let me draw this divine feminine card. I'm doing this just a little bit of the D word, a little bit of divination, something I talk about in the mini course, the free mini course. So make sure you sign up for that if you want to know a little more. So I'm going to draw a divine feminine card. This is from the Megan Watterson, the Divine Feminine Oracle deck. I'm simply going to ask for the card that is going to speak to the most of us right now, past, present, and future, anyone watching this video. Okay, so this is our card. Sorry, I have it on blur. Oh, this is cool. This is Sappho, the poetess. I love every inch of my body, and I love the women in my life fiercely. I love every inch of my body. I love the women in my life fiercely. I was just talking about Sappho earlier today. Sappho was an ancient Greek poetess. She talked about having female lovers as well, and she was devoted to Aphrodite. So it's just one of those characters I happen to know a little bit about from this deck. Oh, and look, she's playing the harp. You all know I love the harp. I play the harp too. It's probably a Greek. Oh, sorry, a Greek lyre, probably. So Lyre. So Sappho, let's just tap into this energy. I love every inch of my body. Let me invite all of you to place hands on heart. Put your feet rooted deeply into the earth. Take a deep breath. Send yourself some love. Let your body know how much you love her. The energy of Sappho can be super, super helpful for that. So can the energy of Aphrodite. That's something I'm going to be talking to you more about next week. And who is a woman in your life that you love fiercely? Let's name her out loud. Offer that up to the divine in gratitude and in thanks. This woman doesn't have to be perfect, just someone who you love fiercely. Oh goodness, I felt energy shift. Like I know some of you were doing that live while we're here live, and you're doing it in the future as you're watching this as well. So I think I felt that collective energy. Really, really beautiful. Thank you, everyone. So this is what it is to be in love with the divine feminine. That means that we actually get to love ourselves, that we get to practice loving every inch of our bodies. And even if your body isn't feeling the best right now, still love every inch of your body because it has served you. It has brought you this far. It is a way of expression in the world. So this is something that we can all work on. This is something that the Divine Feminine helps us do, helps us love our bodies, love every inch of our bodies. It's such a gift. And in fact, in the mini course, this is like a whole video. I talk about love of the body because it's through our bodies that we get to know the divine, including the Divine Feminine. And so this is such a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us to connect, and you letting the Divine Feminine infuse all of us in our interactions. I'm so grateful for each of you. I'm just going to check and see if there's any questions. If there's any questions, I'll answer them. If not, we can. Later. Oh, I'm having trouble getting to Facebook. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions live, so that's just fine. I will go back and double check. You can always tag me. So many Divine Feminine blessings. Be sure to download the book. In the first comment, I'm going to put access to the little mini course, and I will see many of you there.